Hi, I'm Linda. Before I dive into my story, please like and subscribe for more real-life drama and lessons learned the hard way. Now let's get into it. My life was pretty sordid until I opened my doors to my sister's family. She was always the needy one. And this time, her husband, Jack, had lost his job. "Just for a few weeks, Linda," she had said. Those few weeks turned into months, and before I knew it, I was sharing my space indefinitely. It was subtle at first, the way things began to change. My sister Clara started rearranging my kitchen. "Linda, honey, this way it's more efficient," she'd chirp, moving my coffee maker to a spot I absolutely despised. It was my kitchen, my rules, right? Wrong. With every passing day, my space felt less and less like my own. One evening, as I was setting the table for dinner, I overheard my nephew, Ethan, talking to his friend on the phone. "Yeah, my aunt's jobless. Just lazes around all day while we do all the hard work." My heart sank. Jobless? Hard work? I was running a successful online business, thank you very much. "Clara, can I have a word?" I confronted her the next morning. "Oh, Linda, what is it now?" she sighed, rolling her eyes. "It's about Ethan. He thinks I'm jobless. Where did he get that idea?" I was trying to keep my calm. Clara just shrugged. "Kids, you know. They make up stuff. Don't take it to heart." But it wasn't just kids making up stuff. Ethan's attitude towards me started to shift. He'd leave his dirty dishes for me to clean, and his please and thank yous vanished. One day, I found my laptop in his room. "Ethan, that's my work laptop. I need it." "So? It's not like you actually work." I was taken aback. "Ethan, I do work. I run my own business." He just snorted and continued gaming. I felt a twinge of anger, but let it go. Family, right? The real blow came the day I found the living room turned upside down. "Clara, what's happening here?" "Oh, we're just redecorating a bit. It needed a change," she replied nonchalantly. "But this is my house. Shouldn't I have a say in this?" Clara's tone hardened. "Linda, we're family. We're trying to make this place livable. You should be grateful we're improving your boring old house." Grateful? For turning my sanctuary into something unrecognizable? I felt a sense of betrayal creeping in. Was this really about helping family? Or had I unwittingly surrendered my home to an invasion? Things escalated quickly after that. Clara's little changes became full-blown takeovers. She started hosting her friends over, parties that went late into the night. I was expected to play the host, cleaning up after her mess. I woke up that morning with a knot in my stomach. Today was the day I'd confront Clara about everything: the disrespect, the lies, and her son's attitude. I found her in the kitchen, her back turned to me, humming as she made coffee. "Clara, we need to talk. Now." She turned, her expression changing from casual to defensive in a split second. "What now, Linda? More complaints?" "It's about Ethan and the way he's been treating me. And you, turning my house into... I don't even know what. Ethan is just a kid, Linda. And this house needed some life. You should be thanking me." I was flabbergasted. "Thanking you? Clara, this is my home. Your guests here." She scoffed. "Guests? We practically live here now, and you should be grateful. We're family." "But family doesn't treat each other like this. The lies, the disrespect. It's too much." Clara's face hardened. "Lies? You're the one living in a fantasy, Linda. We're the ones keeping this place together." That's when Ethan walked in, his eyes shooting daggers at me. "Why are you always on Mom's case, Aunt Linda?" "I'm not on anyone's case, Ethan. I just want some respect in my own house." He laughed, a cold, mocking sound. "Your house? Looks more like you're the one freeloading." I felt my heart break a little. "Ethan, why would you say that?" "Because it's true. You do nothing around here. Mom says you're just using us." I looked at Clara, betrayal etched on my face. "Is that what you've been telling him?" "Maybe it's time you hear some hard truths, Linda. You're not the queen of this castle anymore." I was speechless. This was no longer about a temporary stay. It was a hostile takeover. That evening, I packed a small bag. I needed space, to breathe, to think. My friend Jess had always been a shoulder to lean on. "Jess, it's Linda. Can I crash at your place tonight? I need to get away." "Of course, Linda. What's wrong?" "It's Clara and her family. They've taken over my house." As I left, I saw Clara watching from the window, a smug smile on her face. It was like she'd won a prize, my home being the trophy. I felt defeated. But deep down, I knew this was far from over. The next few days at Jess's were a blur of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief. "Linda, you can't let them walk all over you like this," Jess said one night, her voice laced with concern. "I know, but what can I do? They've turned my nephew against me. My own sister is acting like I'm the enemy." "You need a plan, Linda. Fight back. This is your home, your life." She was right. I couldn't let them win. Not like this. Not in my own home. As I lay in bed that night, ideas began to form. Clara and her family had declared war, and I was not about to raise the white flag. Not yet. Not ever. Returning to my house after cooling off at Jess's place, I was hoping for a chance at reconciliation. As I reached my front door, my key wouldn't turn. They changed the locks. My heart raced as I frantically knocked. "Clara, open up, it's Linda." The door cracked open, and there stood my sister, an unnerving calmness about her. "Oh, it's you. What do you want?" "What do I want? It's my house, Clara. Why have the locks been changed?" She shrugged. "For safety. We can't be too careful these days." I was livid. "Safety? Against who, Clara? Your own sister?" "Times change, Linda, and so do people. We're just taking care of the house while you figure your life out." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "My life is just fine, thank you. I want back into my house. Now." Her face hardened. "This is our home now. You should find somewhere else to stay." I tried to push past her, but she blocked my way. "This isn't the end, Clara. You can't just steal my house." She just smirked. "We'll see about that, won't we?" As I walked to the garage, a sinking feeling hit me. My belongings, all boxed up, sat in piles. My life, reduced to cardboard boxes in my own garage. The audacity of it all. Later that day, I was at a local cafe, my mind racing. That's when Mike, an old friend and a lawyer, walked in. "Linda, you look stressed. What's going on?" I poured out the whole story, my voice shaking with anger and disbelief. "They've just taken over, Mike. My sister. I don't even recognize her anymore." He listened, his expression turning from concern to shock. "That's insane, Linda. You need to take legal action." But deep down, I knew the legal route wouldn't be enough, not for the kind of justice I sought. I spent the next few days gathering intel. Neighbors, friends, anyone who could tell me what was happening in my house. The more I heard, the angrier I got. Parties, strangers coming and going, my sister living it up like she owned the place. It was during one of these recon missions that I bumped into Ethan. He was different, quieter. "Aunt Linda, I'm sorry about before. I didn't mean to." I looked at him, seeing a flicker of the boy I once knew. "It's okay, Ethan. But you should know, your mom, she's not telling the truth." He looked down, kicking at the dirt. "I know, I hear things. I'm sorry." It was a small victory, but it meant the world. The cracks were starting to show. The following week, as I was scrolling through social media, I saw it. A post from Clara, bragging about her new home. The audacity. It was then I knew I had to act, and fast. This wasn't just about a house anymore. It was about respect, about family, and about justice. I started my plan by hitting the social circuit. I needed allies and information. At a local gathering, I bumped into Martha, an old friend and part of our extended social circle. "Linda, I heard about your situation. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine, Martha. Just taking a little break from home." "Clara's been saying things about how she's saving you from financial ruin." I laughed, a bitter edge to it. "Clara's always had a wild imagination. Just wait, the truth always comes out." Word started to spread. I made sure of it. Clara's narrative was cracking, and people were starting to ask questions. Next up, Jack, Clara's husband. He was clueless about her financial mishandling. Time for a wake-up call. I sent him an anonymous email, details of Clara's mismanagement, her shopping sprees with his unemployment money, all of it. 2 days later, I saw him storm out of my house, his face red with anger. Clara was chasing after him, trying to explain. The seeds of doubt were sown. The more I dug, the more dirt I found. Clara had been lying to everyone, including her own family. I kept feeding these little truths to the right people. The dominoes were starting to fall. I bumped into Ethan again. He looked troubled. "Aunt Linda, I don't know what to believe anymore. Mom's always talking about you. About the house, about money. I put a hand on his shoulder. Ethan, sometimes people get lost in their own lies. Just remember, there's always two sides to every story. He nodded, something akin to understanding in his eyes. Meanwhile, the tension at my house was palpable. Neighbors reported loud arguments, Clara and Jack barely speaking to each other. The facade was crumbling. One day, while walking past my house, I heard them. Clara was in full meltdown. "You've ruined everything, Jack. Linda's manipulating you." "It's not Linda, it's you, Clara. These emails, the receipts, they don't lie." Ethan's voice piped up, small and uncertain. "Mom, did you lie to us?" I could almost see Clara's world spinning out of control, her web of lies untangling thread by thread. As the sun set that evening, I sat on a park bench, a sly smile creeping across my face. The stage was set, the players were unraveling, and I was just getting started. The atmosphere around my house was like a ticking time bomb. Clara and Jack's fights became the talk of the neighborhood. Their once united front was now a battlefield, each accusing the other of betrayal. One day, I decided to confront Clara. I found her sitting alone on the porch, a defeated look in her eyes. "You look like you've seen better days, Clara." She glanced up, her eyes cold. "What do you want, Linda?" "Just to talk, sister to sister." "There's nothing to talk about. You've ruined everything." "I didn't ruin anything, Clara. The truth did," she scoffed. "Truth? You call setting up your own sister truth?" "I call it justice. You took my home, turned my nephew against me." Clara's facade was crumbling, her voice shaky. I just wanted better for us, for Ethan. But not at my expense, Clara. Not by stealing my life." Just then, Jack came out, his face etched with anger. "Clara, we need to talk. Now." Clara stood up, bracing herself. "Jack, I can explain." He held up his phone, an email open on the screen. "These bank statements, the shopping receipts. It's all here, Clara." Ethan appeared in the doorway, his expression a mix of confusion and sadness. "Mom, is it true? Did you lie to us?" Clara's world was unraveling right before her eyes. "I did it for us, for our family." "By lying? By stealing your sister's home?" Jack's voice was heavy with betrayal. Clara's eyes filled with tears, but the damage was done. The family she had tried to control was now falling apart. As they argued, I stepped back. The scene before me was heartbreaking, but necessary. Sometimes, the hardest lessons come from the toughest situations. Over the next few days, the moving trucks arrived. Clara and her family, now a shadow of what they once were, packed up and left. The house was silent, echoing with the remnants of a family torn apart by greed and lies. I walked through my home, the walls and floors empty, but my heart full of relief. It was over. I could start rebuilding, start healing. Standing in my living room, I made a vow. No more would I allow toxicity to invade my space, my peace. This house, my sanctuary, would be a place of love and trust, a far cry from the deceit it had witnessed. As I looked around, I realized that this wasn't just a victory for me. It was a victory for truth, for integrity. I had stood my ground, fought back against betrayal, and in the end, I had won. As the dust settled in my now quiet home, I sat in the living room, a sense of profound peace washing over me. It was a strange feeling, sitting amidst the emptiness, yet feeling so full inside. I had reclaimed not just my home, but also my dignity and strength. In the days that followed, I began the process of rebuilding. Repainting walls, moving furniture back into place. It was therapeutic, almost like healing wounds. Friends came over, helping, bringing life back into the once desolate space. Jess, always the rock, was there every step of the way. "Linda, you did it. You stood up for yourself," she said, handing me a cup of coffee as we took a break. I nodded, a small smile on my face. "I did. It feels good, Jess. Really good." Evenings were spent in quiet contemplation, the events of the past weeks replaying in my mind. It wasn't just a battle against Clara and her deceit. It was a fight against the very notion of letting others trample over my values. As I reorganized my bookshelf one afternoon, a photo fell out from an old album. It was a picture of Clara and me, as kids, smiling innocently at the camera. A pang of sadness hit me. Despite everything, she was still my sister. Maybe one day things could be different. Maybe one day, but not today. Today, I stand in my home, surrounded by tranquility and the comfort of my own space. There's a newfound strength in me, a resilience forged through betrayal and reclaimed through courage. My story is a testament to anyone who has ever faced deceit or been wronged by their own blood. It's a reminder that sometimes standing up for oneself is the only way to turn the tide. And there it is, the end of Linda's story. If you enjoyed this journey of courage and resilience, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Stay strong and stand tall, just like Linda. Now that Linda's story has reached its end, I've got a question for all of you. If you were in Linda's shoes, would you have taken a different approach to handle the situation with your sister and her family? This situation dives deep into family dynamics and personal boundaries. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If you enjoyed this story and want more like it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for joining me on this journey.